So, welcome everyone to here we are again, Dragon Talks. I keep forgetting what number, but we've been doing this for nearly 3 years, so we've had quite a few different speakers on, and today we've got the amazing Elle that's joining us. So, a little introduction. He's a unique voice weaving together the ancient threads of Fairy Genealogy, Celestial Wisdom, and Dragon Lineage. We were just talking before about we can just imagine the fairies riding on the back of the huge big dragons, or maybe just using the little dragonflies. So Elle's channeled magic, the fae, dragons, and he's been working with lots of scholarly stuff and working with the soul like many of us are, and currently writing a book on fairy genealogy. So that'd be an amazing one to get hold of once it's there. How long before it's out, Elle?
I really tried to have it out by the end of or the beginning of next year. But I mean, I recently saw an interview by Tilda Swinton, and she was like, just keep on working on. So when it comes out, I guess. But I would love to have it out within the next year.
That's right. No pressure.
Yeah, all right.
Don't want the pressure. So, Elle, welcome to Dragon Talks, and it's beautiful to have you. We love the background, and please, the platform is yours. Share whatever you want. If you want to ask people questions, do. If there's any journeys you want to take us on, we love to go on them. And as I was saying beforehand, I'm the second speaker, but all I'm doing is introducing the Dragon Thunder Summit that's next week to make sure people know about it. So the floor is yours. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Kev. This is so wonderful to be here. I've been tapping into the Dragon Thunder for quite some time now, and just hearing everybody speak and all the shares just really held my soul, held my heart. And I felt like it was something that this topic, dragons and fairy genealogy, was something that this community would be receptive to, but also would benefit from as well. So I'm really thankful to be able to share. My name is Elle, the Celestiallographer. Some of you may also know me as Elle of the Pixie Elves. Again, I'm really honored to be able to share today in this Thunder Talk this Sunday, July 6, 2025. This day is actually a Master number 22 day, with 7, 6, and 2025 being 9, all adding up to 22. And that number is a dragon number. So I'm really thankful to be able to share in this energetic alignment as well. Thank you again, Kev, for holding this space for all of us dragons to fly, both here today and every time that you open up the room for our shares and the event space for Dragon Thunder, whether here or on Facebook or Instagram. It's really, truly an honor. I'm so thankful that there are spaces for dragons to be able to share. It really means a lot to me. I'm also excited to share today because my own Dragon's Head, that North Node placement, which is in alignment for me with the Cancer Ancestors, is being spotlighted by this conjunction of the Sun and Sirius, the brightest star of our night sky. So I'm experiencing a lot of brilliant surges of cosmic energy and light at this time, and I feel like it's a very aligned time and space to be able to have this presentation. So I'm very thankful. So I'll start by discussing my own interest in dragons. I mean, I've loved dragons since I was a kid. Before I ever fully understood myself to be aligned with the dragon energy, I always knew them to be real in some way or some form. Early on in my spiritual journey, I experienced a Kundalini activation, which illuminated the entirety of my being, crown to core, and all the way up and down my spine. And I really became aware of my dragon genealogy probably post that. During that activation, I just saw and felt all these lightning sparks coming out of me and within me. And then I'm normally based in New York City, but that same night I had seen an image of lightning leaving out of the Empire State Building. And I was like, wow, this is exactly where I am. And this is the energy that I'm maintaining or aligning myself with. So I was really excited to be able to feel that when I did connect with that Kundalini energy. And since then, I've just been very much in alignment with that serpent-like draconic energy that does align so much with the Kundalini. In 2023, I received a bachelor's degree in cultural astronomy and celestial embodiment. And it was actually during my university studies of the stars and celestial embodiment that I developed my own practice known as Celestiallography. This is a practice that I define as the art and practice of celestial embodiment, integration, and ascent. And as a deep lover of the magic of the stars, I determined that one of the most direct routes towards actually embodying the stars was by aligning oneself with supernatural beings, such as dragons or the Fae. I began to perceive these stars as the Fae, and this really fleshed out my work with dragons and fairy genealogy. I actually coined the term fairy genealogy while attending the Gaian Fairy Congress earlier this year. It was on the last day of this Congress that I received a transmission, like I guess from my guides, telling me that the term fairy genealogy was something that I should look into. And almost immediately after I did, I found this paper, a chapter in a book, a scholarly text about genealogy that was titled Fairy Genealogy in Tudor England. And this was by Dr. Angana Moitra. I did end up Zooming with her. She's based in India, and we had a really wonderful discussion about her themes in the paper that she explored, but also how her context, her lens was a lot more from the medieval and from seeing the actual lore behind the family and the families in Tudor England, like the royal family, but contextualizing within the landscape of fairy genealogy. I was like, wow, there's people that are actually researching this. This is the thing. So I don't. That's why I don't say like, oh, I founded or coined the term fairy genealogy. It's already existed. It's just a practice that I involve myself within that I have been able to find a lot of resonance within, both in my own like client-based services and then also in my research and in my scholarly pursuits as well. And so after I deep dove into this realm of fairy genealogy, I actually ended up presenting on the topic at a Faekin or Otherkin conference known as Shining Hearth back in March. And eventually this opened up the door for me to present today on dragons and fairy genealogy and dragon thunder. And talking about my own dragon and fairy genealogy, I did begin to trace my own lines of fairy genealogy as I came to understand that my father actually is a golden dragon. It was really interesting because once I kind of identified him or determined that he was that, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, of course, Ben." And I was so like perplexed almost because I had to do this work of identifying it and or coming to terms with it. But then immediately once I presented him with like the facts, he's like, "Yeah, like you didn't know already," kind of thing. And it's like, "Well, you didn't tell me. No one ever said anything." So it was very funny, honestly, and really eye opening. Just because when we think about us like beings as dragons, fae, whatever, oftentimes we're just really embodying that energy, and if people don't ask, we don't really tell them. So it came to me having to really just show up and be like, "Wait, are you this? Is that what you're aligning with?" It's like, "Yep," for it to really come to terms with it. So I'm really thankful that now I've had that awareness and I've been able to openly discuss that with him, and we share all the dragon things in the world with each other, and I get to know kind of where that energy has emanated from in my life, but also give it kind of like a physical form for some of the stuff that can seem so otherworldly sometimes or really disembodied when we look at fairy or dragon genealogy. And we actually get to see the people in our lives that we're genetically related to that possess or embody these alignments or these connections. It just, to me, it creates a deeper connection, and I was able to really find a home in this work as well. My mom, on the other hand, while not being a dragon herself, actually carries the dragon gene, quote unquote, from her father. And so, though it skipped her generation, my uncle, my brother, and myself were all dragons. So it was nice to be able to like see kind of not it necessarily being in her alignments, but also seeing that she still carries that within her, and to see it then again manifest within myself and then other members of our family too. As I broaden out to the larger discussion on dragons and fairy genealogy, I do believe that it's pertinent to also explain that my mom is, as I perceive her to be, one of the Aoshi. She hails from a matrilineal line of elves, which continued on with me. And it's really this genetic connection to the Fae, again, as I mentioned, which fueled my interest in both dragons and fairy genealogy. It's also the reason for me presenting on this topic today, out of honor and reverence for my ancestors and my own personal identity as a dragon fairy hybrid. So, allow me to begin with a definition of what is fairy genealogy. So I would give a basic definition of fairy genealogy as the tracing of ancestry from supernatural beings, just like flat out. But in my own practice, I would say that fairy genealogy is the process of analyzing an individual or family's connection to fairy, the fae, through the correspondence of their genethliac alignments to supernatural embodiments, whether that be witches, dragons, fairy, etc. These supernatural embodiments are understood to be inherited from the planets and the stars. Though this is just one among a number of other factors and variations, such as genetic or environmental, it's my preferred method of tracing fairy genealogy, as I understand the alignments of the stars to be the primary way in which the Fae relate and draw connection to one another. It's also a sort of celestial harmony as we start to see the stars as the Fae. Individuals could also trace genetic lines of fairy genealogy through the celestial alignments and corresponding supernatural embodiments inherited by their parents, grandparents, and ancestors. And I understand this to be a combination of both genetic and genethliac factors. As I mentioned before, my mom isn't necessarily a dragon, but her grandpa, or my grandpa, her father was. And then my dad being a dragon, I guess it skipped a line, but because she carried the gene, now both my brothers are dragons. So it's a combination of both looking at it from the stars and then also looking at it from the actual genetic factors. And so, for example, if someone's grandmother has the alignment for star elves, then by this genetic genethliac variation, they might be a fourth star elf. Or if an individual's mom was a serpent dragon and their dad may be a werewolf, for example, then they carry both of those supernatural embodiments within their fairy genealogy and should thus be more capable of expressing their connection to both aspects of their ancestry, given that both of these Fae parents were in tune with and expressive of their own fairy genealogy. And so, if you're adopted, I feel like this variation can hopefully open up new ways of relating between you and your non biological family because you're seeing their alignments with the stars and seeing how those are embodied by certain supernatural beings. And then you might have your own alignment with the stars that relate to other supernatural beings. But sometimes, just because of the way of the world, we're just energetically connected to or drawn to certain beings, certain individuals that might be in alignment with some of these similar Fae types or elfin, draconic, etc. beings that show up in our own celestial alignments. So, which beings are included within the meaning or definition of fairy or fae to me? I would say that there's quite a few. There's, I think, at least 6, and those range from dragons, which I would include to be winged dragons, serpent dragons, which are bird-like dragons, and then more reptilian dragons. Then there's witches, thinking like wise women, wizards, cunning folk, hags, crones, sorcerers, sorceresses, enchanters, enchantresses. Then there's magician mages. These are ceremonial magicians almost, or alchemists, which are transmuting a lot more, working not as much with certain elements, I would say, but with like larger forces of energy. Then there are fairy with a specific spelling of Fayerie. And these are supernatural beings who inhabit the fairy realm or faedom, such as elves and nymphs, merfolk, and the Sidhe. Then I see there are angels. These are archangels, guardian angels, and I don't say like a lower class, but maybe a more personal angel class of angels as well that are within this kind of hierarchy of angels. And then there's celestials, and these are the luminaries, the highest or brightest celestial bodies of our sky, such as the moon and the sun. And I would continue on by speaking on the differences of fairy genealogy from standard definitions of genealogy. An individual could have a strong fairy genealogy, quote unquote, that is inherited from both of their parents, who may, for example, again be dragons. Yet that individual could be born of the elves, possessing no geneth-like dragon alignments. So if it makes sense that you would be basically coming from a strong draconic line, but you may not necessarily possess any alignments for dragons in your own fairy genealogy by way of the stars. And again, that would look like you're not necessarily showing up on paper as a dragon, but because if you know your ancestry and you know where you're from and your people are to be dragons, you could still contain this energy of being draconic. And so it works a bit differently, but also in conjunction with traditional forms of genealogy, because the way that fairy work, it's very alchemical in nature, as one individual once said in the Shining Earth presentation. It's like you can be an elf and you can have a vampire kid, or you could be a dragon and you could have a mermaid child. So they all kind of work in conjunction, but also like mismatch with each other. But oftentimes, if someone is showing up with certain energy, it might be because of who they've come from, where they've descended from, whether like on an ancestral line, or where they've come from in terms of their past or previous lives, or parallel lives, even where they might be oscillating energy in a higher self timeline that is concurrent to this one which we're living in. It's also my understanding that even if an individual was born human, that they would still inherit a genetic Genethliac dragon lineage from their parents' alignments, regardless of whether or not there exists the presence of dragons in their own native celestial alignments. And that is, again, the nature of fairy genealogy. It's quite distinct from how most people would probably define genealogy. I'd say fairy genealogy, especially in my practice, originates in the planets and the stars. Fairy people, from incarnated witches to angels and dragons, can use the stars to identify their fairy ancestry and deepen their relation to one another. People can be born into distinct earth family trees, yet belong to the same fairy family tree of an entirely different person that they may have no perceivable blood relation to. As star beings and beings related to the stars, these kinship connections can often feel stronger than even our earth family ties. And I feel like that's really okay. Like we've come, in 2025 to know, we're not just defined by our blood family. There's friendship connections and romantic connections that can oftentimes feel stronger than where we may have originated from on a blood family line. And it's important to acknowledge those relationships and acknowledge those connections that also are made manifest in the relationships that we have with the Fae, in the sense that the Fae, in our relationship to fairy energy, oftentimes is so, it's not even, I won't say ephemeral, but almost like unseen, in the sense that there might be no like direct link as that is perceivable, but oftentimes it's so felt or sensed or even imagined or believed within. And that is important to honor as a shared connection and as a way of devoting oneself to something beyond one's physical or earthly self as well. There are a few examples of dragons and fairy genealogy in folklore and mythology. One of them I would bring to mind is La Melusine, and she's a known fairy woman in medieval France who was cursed by her mother to bear a dragon's tail every seventh day of the week, a dragon number itself, which happened to be every Saturday. And in the story of La Melusine, she ended up granting her offspring, the children she had with her husband, like wonderful lands and castles and kingdoms. And then when her husband came upon her on the seventh day, in which she was not supposed to be seen, because that's when her serpent's tail came out, she flew away and she was never to be seen by him again. And though she still did bestow her children long lasting success and fame and recognition, she and her partner, her human counterpart, were at that point disconnected. And that's also goes more into like traditional fairy lore, where the breaking of taboos would oftentimes create a schism within the human fairy relationship that would result in the fairy oftentimes departing back to the other world. Even though that is the case within the story of the Melusine, her children to this, I mean, maybe not to this day, but I guess to this day in the consciousness, are said to be bestowed upon with great abundance and benevolence gifted to them by their fairy or draconic mother. And so there's these idea of um, individuals claiming kinship to the Melusine because of her connection to abundance and magic and the other world, which as they were able to connect with that line or that genealogical relationship, they were also able to write themselves into this storyline of abundance and myth and magic making that were so long lasting in the sense that it's continued on since medieval times. I also would bring up that the Nagas and their royal descendants are a pretty clear example of draconic or dragon genealogy in folklore and myth, in the sense that I think it was January 5th, 2025, when Maha, Indian mystic, introduced me to this idea and understanding of Nagas as dragons. It was in our dragon talk back then when I was kind of originally seeing guys, I guess, Nagas more as like a traditional like fairy, Fayerie, just trying to place them within that kind of cosmology. But then in this conversation, the Nagas were reintroduced to me as dragons, essentially, or at least the closest conception that Indian mythology and folklore has of dragons. And so these Nagas actually would go on to have royal lines of descent throughout India in at least three distinct dynasties in which their children, again, born conceived to be born of the Nagas, but bearing more or less human characteristics, were understood to rule over these kingdoms of abundance and have a connection back to the other world and back to the dragons, of course, in their relationship to the Nagas. Additionally, there's the legend of the Vietnamese people being descended from the offspring of a mountain fairy and a sea dragon. And I love this one because, as I mentioned personally, my mom is more on like that traditional fairy, Fayerie energy, while my dad resonates more with like the draconic energy. So when I heard about the story of the Vietnamese people descending from the mating of a fairy woman, a mountain fairy specifically, and a sea dragon, I felt really resonant. I was like, wow, this really makes sense to me. I completely see where they're coming from here. And whenever I think back to that timeline or to that storyline, I feel such a deep resonance. And I've tried to bring it up with certain Vietnamese friends throughout the years, and sometimes they have their own, I guess, regional understandings of that storyline as well. And it's always interesting to hear their own takes on it too, and how it's morphed or changed throughout their own communities or their own genealogical, ancestral storylines. I guess I'll stop now. I was going to go ahead to a transmission, but I don't know if anyone has any kind of questions or anything that they were thinking of that they might want to ask. Okay, great. Well,
Sometimes people are shy. Let's just say, don't be shy, people. If you've got a question, do ask. No one's going to bite your hand off or anything. I always like to give it 10 seconds.
and feel free to write in the chat too if you have anything come up to just even now or during this transmission too. If you're in the state of the transmission, you might not want to break out to write a question, but if it just comes out to you and you feel the need to speak or to share, definitely feel free to share in the chat during the transmission. Okay. Well, I think we should go and begin because we have 22 people in the room right now. If anyone wants to just get comfortable and take a sip of water or pull out any anointed sacred oils or sage or incense or palo santo, anything that makes you feel in alignment with this energy, please feel free to do so now. If you feel more comfortable with your camera on or off, feel free to take on those settings now so that you can resonate with this energy and the highest frequency available for you at this time. And this dragon journey, dragon activation, came to me in alignment with some of the most recent, I guess, draconic alignments that were appearing in the field yesterday at around 8, I think it was 8:25 a.m. on July 5th, 2025. This draconic energy came online, and it was beautiful because it was, I guess, around 7:40 my time PM that night that I was thinking about, this journey for today. And I was like, okay, what's coming through? I went to go check the charts and immediately saw that this draconic energy was online in conjunction with the fairy realm. And it was so beautiful. I was so thankful because it was completely in alignment with where I would love to guide this journey today to. And it provided the most incredible inspiration for where we will explore today. And hopefully, the intention set behind this journey, this activation, is to integrate with these themes of draconic and dragon and fairy genealogy. So, again, just allow yourself to get comfortable now. Feel free to settle into your body, whether, again, it's seated position, laying down, whatever is most comfortable for you. Starting with the breath, we'll begin with an inhale through our nose and an exhale out through our mouth, allowing yourself to flow with this energy and this peaceful resonance at this time. Setting your intentions for this journey, asking yourself how open you are to fly, to release, to let go, to feel and be free. And as you continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, allow your awareness now to flow down from your crown in, to, through, and around your first eye, pulsating at your third eye. As you close your two physical eyes, you breathe in once more through your nose and out through your mouth, centering yourself within the energy, the ether that you're inhaling at this moment. Allow this energy to flow further now down your neck and across your collarbones, through your arms, down to your hands, out through your fingertips, spreading across your palms. Continue breathing in now through your nose and out through your mouth. As you call this energy in through your heart, flowing past your rib cage, across your diaphragm and down into your solar plexus, beginning to pool at your sacral center. You can sense this energy now, spreading down across your thighs, leveling at your knees, and anchoring in at your ankles before flowing out through your toes and the soles of your feet. Now envision yourself in the midst of your inner realms, surrounded by stars and nebulae, as galaxies of purple, blue, Cosmic light swirl all around you, and you can feel the hum of an ancient being rumble within. And as you turn to your left and look to your right, you can begin to make out the shape of a giant celestial dragon before you. This heavenly winged dragon deity welcomes you into its cosmic abode, this dominion in which they rule over. As you begin to feel the peace of this space, you can sense the spiral of celestial bodies before you become you. You feel yourself woven into this galactic tapestry, and an immense feeling of serenity washes over you, dancing across your pores into your cells. And not before long, this heavenly winged dragon deity before you invites you onto its back. And as you mount their back, you start to envision two crystalline stargates forming before you, surging in light, almost a blue-white color. These stargates begin to surge with pure cosmic energy, ether in its most plasmic form, splashing in waves between the two pillars of starlight. Beginning to take flight, the air, the wind, the frequency around you begins to pick up as the heavenly winged dragon deity outstretches their wings and uplifts you even higher and higher and higher into the celestial sea before you. Waves of stars, planets dance before this dragon flies full speed ahead into the stargate. And as you fly faster and faster through this stargate, you pass through the spheres of each of the planets within our solar system, from Pluto to Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, Mercury. You finally arrive at our moon, the lunar sphere. Here, atop the highest peak of the moon's volcanic dome, rests a portal which opens up to the fairy realm. And called to enter this portal, you and the heavenly winged dragon deity descend down into and through the cone of this volcanic dome and are transported atop one of the the fairy hills of the otherworld, where a ring of winged messengers of elves are dancing, floating, and fluttering about to the sound of the most enchanted music you may have ever heard. Nice. Allow the beats of the drums and the music of the harps, the sounds of the flute to carry your soul, your spirit, your light into the space. As you breathe in this air through your nose and out through your mouth, you can sense how much lighter now you are This space is, as it is filled with magic. The heavenly winged dragon deity invites you to dance with these winged messengers of elves, for they are offering you an opportunity to treat with the winged elves who guard over the starry skies of the fairy realm. So as you begin to take your leap off the heavenly winged dragon deity's back, you can feel your own wings beginning to outstretch, and you're held and braced with a magic-filled wind, which carries you up, up, up to the realm of the winged elves. Floating, flying, and fluttering here in this space, there's an ease and a grace and a lightness in this place. And as you are received warmly by this tribe of Fae, you're provided with an opportunity now to ask them any question in which your heart most desires. So take that time now to think, to ponder, or to just simply ask that which your heart calls forth at this time. Trust in the resonance, in the knowing, in the being. As immediately upon asking, the winged elves reply with the answer to your question in a force full of vivid imagery and cosmic light. Sparkles and swirls dancing before you, above you, and all around you. Your answer becomes clearer now, sharper than your own sight's vision. You could feel it, sense it, taste it, touch it in the space. You know the truth. You can discern it from the false light. And as you sit, stand, sing within this knowing, you can feel how held you are in this space. Held you are by the truth of your own being. Allow your arms to outstretch, your wings to outstretch, your soul and your heart's aura, the field of your own being, to envelop those around you, thanking them, thanking yourself for knowing, for trusting and believing in what you're able to perceive at this time. And as they receive your thanks, as you receive your own inner gratitude, you can begin to feel the call back to your body now. As you bring your awareness up through your toes, in through your ankles, extending along your legs, balancing at your hips, surging up through your sacral and circling at your solar plexus, beating in through your heart and rushing down across your arms, traveling up through your throat, in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Pulling at your first eye, you open your two physical eyes. As your awareness outpours over the crown of your head and you're welcome back. Return to your body now. Thank you for going on this journey with me. As you find your way back now, centering and grounding into this space, into this place, into your body, feel free to hydrate and ground with your feet on the floor. And if any questions at all come up, feel free to come off mute or ask or write them in the chat box as you wish. Thank you so much again for allowing yourself to flow free for a moment now. Thank you, Kevin. I was seeing this question come through. It probably came through mid-journey, but I'm just seeing it now. About the sea dragons. I think the whales are the most powerful dragons on Earth. Oh my god. I love that you asked that question. I love the whales. Actually, so in a recent shamanic journey that I had, probably recent as in November 11/11, the blue whale came through as my power animal. And oftentimes it is dragons as well. I do feel connected to dragons too. But the blue whale in this journey, actually, I met with her and her calves, two of them, flanked on either side. And as we were underwater, she blew me up through this blowhorn. And I was flown up into the sky and I met with my also dragon guide. So there's definitely a connection between the dragons and the whales. And I think about how we're the most sentient beings on this planet now, post the age of dinosaurs, but I cannot discount the whales as well. So I think they definitely carry that resonance of draconic, dinosaurian, prehistoric, primal, ancestral energy. Thank you so much for asking that question. I love that you had three dragons with you. A moonlight one. My dragon's really connected to the moon as well. Oh, I love it. It felt like a family reunion, especially in the theme of this chat as well, and this discussion. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, wow. I love that. See? Yeah, there's definitely something there. Again, it was pretty recent because I've gone on shamanic journeys since at least 2023 and beyond my own personal transmissions and guided meditations. So for them to come up so powerfully and so recently within my own understanding of them is definitely resonant and in alignment. And I think that they're calling us probably back home to a greater resonance within the field. And then recently I've been seeing stuff about how with this current solar sun Sirius conjunction, that these mer beings and these blue whales from Sirius are also coming through very heavily too. So they're very much felt in the field at this time and streaming their light from the stars and the celestial sea and the cosmic oceans and our own earthly oceans. And I resonate with that very deeply. Thank you so much. I'm gonna also share. Let me see. I do have a link as well to my own. I think I would share just my link tree probably. In case anyone is interested in connecting with me further, I'm on Substack. I'm on.
I've got all your links here. I can post them for people.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's. Yes, perfect. Oh, and then I'll just share my link tree also. Link tree. because it probably has everything on there too for like my Substack, and even today I put today's call on there as well, just because I felt like we need to be on that connection wave. So that's my link tree as well, just has everything on there that Kev just shared. So yeah, if you ever feel free to get in contact with me regarding anything, whether you have a question that came up from today or you'd like to book a session with me, I do offer Fairy Genealogy consultations, both like 15 minutes just to kind of overview everything to start, and then longer, fuller sessions as well if you want to go deeper into your own fairy or dragon genealogy. They're also oftentimes paired with a guided transmission like we did today so that you can integrate a bit more with your own fairy genealogy as well. Again, I do include dragons within the term fairy, so I don't always feel the need to distinguish between the two, but because it is a dragon space today, I will say it's the dragon and fairy genealogy as well. But thank you again so much, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate you for taking the time out of your day and for basking in this resonance. It was so beautiful to share, and I felt really honored to be able to share so openly and guide you all in this transmission. I did notice someone also mentioned dragon was a white one with scales. Yes. Oh my god. Okay. I have to. I should jump in here. I guess I do resonate with this very deeply. My dragons are a lot more bird-like, honestly. I have this, I guess, a winged sky dragon, and they're really connected to the moon, and they have like this sky blue color to them, but they have like the beak of an eagle, and like their wings are a lot more feathered than they are, I guess, reptilian. So I very heavily resonate with that. And then when you're in the fairy realm, ancestry, they flew around in laughter saying yes, yay. My garden has been in full bloom this year, so I feel they are there. Energy was so high. I'm sweating in buckets now. Yeah, me too. I turned my fan on right before this started because I was like, I know I'm gonna get hot. I totally feel that. Yeah, that often happens with me as well. I'm so glad that resonance was there. I feel like when I wake up from dreams, I'm like sweating or I'm in sweats. It means I ventured out very deep into the other world because I had some like fluid to like carry me so that I wouldn't like overheat or something. And it definitely was splashing in those waters of the cosmic oceans and celestial seas. So very much in resonance with that. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you. Yay. Thank you so much for coming and so thankful to have shared. Yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Substack, Discord, all those things as well. And would love to be in contact with anyone that feels the need to reach out and to learn more, to dive deeper. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Kev, for holding this space today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, El. That was amazing. Let's send lots of love. Press that reaction button. Send lots of love in the comments. It's a pleasure to have you, El. That was an amazing journey. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool. And good timing as well. Well, thank you to El. Obviously, this replay will be out tomorrow at some point. It's over to me now. I'm not going to bore you for an hour. I'm just going to keep you for a few minutes. And I just want to make sure that every single one of you knows about the Dragon Thunder Summit that's happening next weekend. If you're in the States, if you're in Canada, then you get the luck of actually watching the beginning of it, because it starts in Australia. So for you, if you're in the States, it'll be the 12th. It'll be in the afternoon, evening. It then goes through 10 speakers, 10 hours. Then it comes over to Europe and we do 10 speakers, and then it goes back to the Americas and there's 10 speakers. So we've got 30 live speakers, each speaking sort of 45 minutes to an hour. There's a chance to do questions and answer sessions. Some people are doing transmissions, some people are doing blessings, some people are doing stuff they don't know what they're doing yet, because the dragons will tell them. Every year it's powerful. There's also 6 people that have done a pre-record with me or on their own, and those will be shared throughout. So do go across and grab your tickets. I'll just share in here the information. And there's also the back catalogue of those from the first year and the second year, and there's also a back catalogue of all the beautiful speakers like Elle that are on YouTube and will be there forever as people go wake up and go, all the dragons are coming in. So I'm noticing that the golden dragons, strange enough, is coming in so much. Every time I speak to a healer at the moment, they're like, oh, this golden dragon came in when I was doing my Reiki or my shamanic. So the golden dragons are definitely awakened. It's great that Elle's got the connection to the golden dragons as well. So yeah, watch out for those. If they're coming in, say hello. They're a very powerful dragon. So yeah, click that link, come on through, and hopefully get to see some of your beautiful faces during that period next weekend. It's going to be epic. I'm not going to stay awake for the whole thing. I'll probably be there at the beginning, and I'm going to do the Europe pit, and then I'll probably be at the very end just to sort of close it off with people. So hopefully some of you can make it. If anyone's got any questions for Elle now, this is your last few minutes to ask, because I think it's popped up now. Anything, this is your chance. If anything's like, oh, I really wish I could ask that question, ask it. And if you get embarrassed, I'll cut it out so it's not on the recording. This is your moment. Don't be shy. No, well, they've got your email if they want to contact you directly, because I know that sometimes it's easier to speak to people directly than ask in front of an audience. So, Elle, thank you again. It was an absolute pleasure to listen to you and go on that amazing journey. So let's send Elle some more love.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is beautiful. So healing for me as well.
Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Some of you it's the beginning of the day, some of it's the end of the day. And I hope to see you all next week. And if not, then I'll see you on the next Dragon Talks. So see you all soon.
Great. Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Bye.